Leviticus 18. This is one of the chapters I knew it was going to be coming up as I was kind of making the schedule. And if I was mean, I probably would have just said, hey, Mike, hey, David, you do this week. But actually, that's not the kind of the way that we worked out our schedule. Actually, this chapter is quite simple for me to talk about for this devotional. If you've read the chapter already, you've just read a whole list of sexual practices. Many of them still today would be viewed as culturally as wrong. A few actually strongly accepted in at least some areas of our culture today. I want to draw you not so much to the specific practices, but to the purpose of the chapter. In verses 2, 4, and 5 is this phrase, I am the Lord your God. This is a covenant formula language piece. So these are not just from God going, these are things you should do. These are things that I would like you to do. This is God saying, these are things that by doing or not doing, by obeying these things, you are showing loyalty. By disobeying, you would be showing disloyalty to me. So it's not just whether or not that there may be a wrong done to the other partner or the other, person in the acts that are listed. God's saying this is about loyalty to me. And again, verse 3. Here's the purpose. It's stated right in the chapter. The purpose for the following commands related to sexual practices and activities, every practice listed in the chapter were ones practiced either in Egypt, where they had been slaves, or in Canaan, where they were going, or both. And Israel was to be a distinct, different, unique, remember that definition of holy, they're called to be a holy nation, reflecting a holy God who's apart from, separated from sin. And that includes for us as God's people, our sexual ethics and practices. And the Old Testament is going to continue this theme. God pictured his relationship with Israel as a marriage. And faithfulness of each partner to one another was expected. That's part of the expression of holiness. And this just translates really easily to our culture today. In all areas of our life, including our sexuality, we are to be in alignment with God's standard, not to conform to the standard and practices of our surrounding culture. Even though it can be awkward, and especially when it goes against what we may want ourselves. Here's the thing. Romans chapter 12, verse 2, Paul kind of gives that same kind of idea where he says to the church there, don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will know what God's will for you is, which is good, pleasing, and perfect. See, notice what God says about the connection between the sin of people and the land. Both non-covenant people and covenant people would be removed from this promised land due to sin. I mean, the Canaanite people were being removed because of their wickedness, because of how, look historically at the practices of the Canaanite people before Israel came and they were removed from the land. Child sacrifice is just part of what was going on. The existing peoples were being removed because of how they were not just being disloyal to God, they'd been made in God's image, even though they weren't a covenant people, they were still being disloyal to God, but they were brutal towards each other. And God says, look, even as covenant people, you're going to be removed if you behave like those that you're about to remove. So what are we to make about this? Now remember, there is covenant language here. And so there's part where it applies strictly to Israel, God's covenant people. And note, as we go through, it did happen to them. They became like the nations around them, not just in the area of sexuality, but in all areas of life. And so here's the thing and I don't want us to stretch this text any further apart from this principle today, that disloyalty and disobedience to God always comes with a cost, the ultimate cost being separation from God. And so why would we, in any area of life, sexuality, how we handle money, our time, how we interact with other people, justice, for example, why would we in any area of our life want to be disloyal to God and risk hindering, harming, even causing ourselves choosing to walk down a path that may lead to complete separation from God? Why would we ever want to do that? And so I just want to encourage you, give God some space today. Listen to him. Are there areas where God is saying to you, this is a little out of step, or this is way out of alignment, or here's a space where I'm calling you to be loyal to me. Take this up, do this, and follow me. As we walk this road of following Jesus together, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.